I'm Cindy Holtum. I'm on the innovation team at Inside Out Development. We're going to do a quick question and answer session to talk about the best practices for facilitating the workshop, Breakthroughs High Performance from the Inside Out. So to help me today, I have Nancy Q. Smith, our Vice President of Innovation at Inside Out Development, as well as Nicole Price, our Senior Consultant. So thanks for being here today. Let's start with a general overview of questions. So how is this workshop facilitation different from other workshops you've facilitated, and how have you prepared and approached that? Nicole?
Yeah, so I would say that in general, my facilitation style is very much participant-led, but this course is even more so. There are very few opportunities for you to be the sage on the stage. You have to trust your participants, and the setup, the materials work really well for you, so you don't have to be the expert on any of the content.
Excellent. So if you're facilitating at an organization that already has an Inside Out coaching initiative going, how would you introduce that and integrate that with the workshop? Nancy?
Actually, we hope we've made it really easy for our facilitators by incorporating a slide that's fully customizable to explain that we're sharing between the programs the mindset and the approach, which is grow. And so the connection happens very naturally, starting right up front, so it's nothing that requires extra preparation.
Excellent. So it's very important that we have participants really engage and offer comments and examples. So how do you guys go about setting up a safe space that encourages interaction and participants feeling comfortable to share their experiences?
One of the major differences between Inside Out coaching and Breakthroughs High Performance for the Inside Out is that this is truly about them as individuals. And if you believe that, you can show up in an authentic fashion. And if you are authentic and real about the fact that you're there to help them achieve their own breakthroughs, engagement's just a natural part of that process.
Let's transition to the videos in the introduction. So the first video that we show is Life Happens. So Nancy, how do you go about setting up and debriefing that video?
So, great question, Cindy. It's important for our facilitators to recognize that there's actually a montage of 3 realistic and humorous situations that show that people get stuck. We all get stuck. We have someone who's frustrated, caught in a phone tree. We have another individual who's got too much going on, kind of multitasking and overwhelmed associated with it. And then we have a credit theft example where one individual takes credit for good work that someone else is doing. And all of those are relatable examples. What we do is we ask people to watch all 3 vignettes, although there is one thing that's critical for our facilitators to know, and that's that each piece also exists on its own. So if for some reason, say culturally, or that there may be a relatability issue in your own organization, you can actually select. And then the debrief comes very naturally in terms of the questions that appear in the workbook and on the slide.
Wonderful. So what about the second video, Here Goes Something? Nicole, how do you set up and debrief that?
Well, what I think is amazing about Here Goes Something is that we were able to capture a real experience, so there's no acting. The other thing is, I'd say, if we just trust the participants that they can make many of their own connections in the video, that's critical throughout the entire program, but absolutely for this video. But at the end, what we want to make sure that people understand after they do experience the debrief is that the girl or the child in the video was still scared when she decided to take action. So the courage to move forward is really just a choice, which is critical language for this program. And once she takes the choice, that then the breakthrough she experiences is definitely worth the decision she made to go for it.
So the course is divided into 3 sections. What is the significance of the titles for those sections? We have Choose Your Focus, Chart Your Course, and Get Perspective.
So our 3 sections are Choose Your Focus, and that choice of focus is absolutely critical. That's really the first awareness we're trying to create, is that focus is a choice and it drives everything you do. Secondly, Chart Your Course is all about following a proven simple process to help you create breakthroughs and figure out your own way forward. And the third section is get perspective, and it's all about being aware that everyone has blind spots and that what we need to accomplish is collaboration and working with others to overcome those blind spots, to get validation and additional input that will allow us to have a better plan and achieve more breakthroughs.
Wonderful, thank you. So I noticed that you have participants actually pull out their smartphones, and I know a more typical facilitation approach would be set those aside, they're a distraction. So talk a little bit about why you decided to have those incorporated.
I think the better question for us to really sit with is, how is it working for us to ask people to put their phones away? I mean, how many times in facilitation do you see people under the table trying to hide the fact that they're working on their phones? So we're leaning into the fact that today's learner is attached at the hip to their smartphones and their devices. And so how can we use those tools to help facilitate the learning, number one, and then the commitments they're making are directly in their devices that they have with them all the time. And so then therefore, they're more likely to tap into what they agreed to and the commitments they made in class.
So let's transition to section 1. So as we just talked about, that is titled Choose Your Focus. So Nancy, can you talk about the significance of that language?
Absolutely. So focus is a choice, and what you pay attention to drives everything that you do, and therefore the success that you achieve.
Wonderful. So what are the best practices around facilitating the performance well? Nicole?
Yeah. You know, what I love about Breakthroughs from the Inside Out is that most of the content really does teach itself. It's absolutely participant-led. And to set yourself up for success as a facilitator, you do need to understand the performance wheel inside and out, and here's why. The participants will say things throughout the day that are directly tied to knowledge, faith, fire, and focus. You will need the skill to be able to weave participant comments to the performance wheel so that just to help facilitate the learning. So that's one critical point. You will need to know that performance wheel very well.
It actually connects right to their chart activity. They're using those words, and having that deep understanding of the performance wheel really brings it to life, because you show them that they already recognize that these are the components that are so critical to high performance.
Wonderful, thank you. So in the second section, Chart Your Course, we introduced the GROW model. So why do we provide extra space in the workbook during the options section of GROW?
Many times, especially if people are very good planners in their life, they usually whittle down their options before they've had an opportunity to truly brainstorm and come up with options. And so when they see that blank space in the workbook, it lets them know, hey, you have 8 minutes, and in these 8 minutes, we are not trying to come up with 1 or 2 options. We are really wanting you to explore all of them. What would you do if you had magic fairy dust? If there were no limitations, to really set that option generating tool in motion, then later allowing them to whittle it down. But we don't want to stop your thought process before you even get started.
Awesome. So in section 3, what insights are you hoping that participants gain from the blind spots video?
That's actually a very interesting video from our perspective, putting it together, because what we need to understand is that each primary character, and actually the audience, they all are experiencing their own blind spots, and as a result, they're lacking perspective that would allow them to be helpful. So there really are profound blind spots on the part of the presenter, the person who's helping him operate his computer, the person on the switch, and the people in the audience. And what I find also most striking is that leaders' behavior, as Nicole called attention to in our tape segment on facilitation, even without the technology problems that are really largely self-inflicted based on the environment, that leader's biggest blind spot is, he's addressing his team, and it's all about him. So even if you take away the sight gag of the inoperable equipment because of the switch, you still have this problem of someone missing the perspective of his team, who are clearly important to his success. It's kind of fun. I think.
Excellent.
If I might add,
Of course.
a participant has said once that, sometimes I don't trust my own judgment. And it's nice to have someone else to just validate my thinking. So let's imagine I've got it all right, I just don't feel confident. Then we can get the faith going up by getting another perspective as well.
Absolutely.
Excellent. So some participants will feel uncomfortable being put on the spot. So toward the end of the course, you have everyone share a commitment that they've made. How do you kind of navigate that? What would you say toward those who are uncomfortable? How do you address that?
We always would give the option for individuals to pass, but we want people to make a declaration. Research shows that people are much more likely to execute when they actually say something, state a commitment out loud. So coming back at the end of the program to insights as well as that action commitment that they're really going to take makes it much more likely that they're going to achieve successes based on the plans that they've put in place in Breakthroughs.
Thank you. So what's the value of showing the video, Here Goes Something, a second time at the end of the course?
Well, the first time they watch the video, they are just coming in with a fresh set of eyes based on their own life's experiences and perspectives. And we get to generate ideas from their experiences in that way. But after we've helped them choose their focus and then use the tools to chart their course and get perspective, now they're coming to the video with a fresh set of eyes, a new lens, a broader perspective. And now they're looking at it going, I am the skier. Before it was an external, oh, look at what that child is doing. Now they're like, I see my slope in front of me. I've just written it all down. I've spent 4 hours here doing this work. I have to just go. And so we want to be able to close that loop for the participants so that they can have that full experience.
Thank you so much for your time today and your expertise. We wish you the best of luck on your journey in facilitating this course.